Hello guys, this is Real Recaps. In this video, I will talk about a 2015 mystery thriller film, Lethal Seduction. Before we start, I hope you will like and subscribe to the channel. The film begins with enchanting scenes of fish and sharks swimming in an aquarium, accompanied by a woman moving gracefully through the water. Mark, a teenager, celebrates his 18th birthday with a pool party. As he puts on his swim trunks, he admires himself in the mirror. Meanwhile, his friend, Walter, observes the girls at the party, while Mark is particularly drawn to one girl, Melanie. Hoping to host another party, Mark comes up with a plan to get his mom, Tanya, out of the house by arranging a date for her with a man named Randy. Once Tanya leaves, Mark and Walter invite girls over and start mixing drinks, but their fun is interrupted when a deacon arrives, proposing a game of Bible trivia. This surprise visit was Tanya's way of checking up on Mark. The next morning, Tanya lovingly sings "You Are My Sunshine" to Mark while preparing his breakfast. Later, while running errands for his mother, Mark meets an older woman, Karissa, who asks him about a shower head. After learning that his mom likes it, he buys one. Karissa then invites Mark to help her install it and hints at paying him. After they successfully install it, Karissa celebrates with a beer, then removes her robe, inviting Mark to try out the new shower. Feeling sweaty, Mark agrees. Later, they explore other parts of her house together. When Mark shares the story with Walter by the pool, Walter becomes intensely jealous. Meanwhile, Tanya's relationship with Randy grows, and so does Mark's relationship with Karissa. When Karissa arrives to take Mark out for martinis in a luxury car, Tanya grows suspicious, finding the car too flashy for a high school student. On the date, Mark impresses Karissa by describing an app he developed, which she thinks has million-dollar potential. When Karissa excuses herself briefly, another young man warns Mark to "get out while you can." Tanya becomes increasingly upset as Mark spends more time away. Later, Mark goes shopping for suits with Karissa and swims in her pool, showing off his young, fit physique. Curious about a shed in the backyard, Mark asks about it, and Karissa cryptically calls it her torture chamber. She then asks Mark to put lotion on her back before they getting intimate again. When Tanya finds text messages from Karissa on Mark's phone, she decides to invite Karissa over for dinner, assuming she's a high school girl. When Karissa arrives, Tanya gives her a protective glare, setting up a tense and awkward meal. Karissa mentions Mark's impressive app and subtly suggests he skip college, prompting Tanya to firmly remind her that Mark is still a boy, not a man. Karissa playfully insists that Mark is indeed a man, suggesting Tanya should loosen the apron strings, escalating the tension. Finally, Tanya snaps, accusing Karissa of being desperate and middle-aged. Karissa stormed out of dinner with Mark consoling her. She encourages him to be his own man, breaking free from his mother. Inside, Tanya is complaining about Karissa to Randy before noticing that Mark leaves with Karissa. They go swimming together. Later, she playfully handcuffs him to the stairs for some intimate activities. The next morning, Karissa wakes Mark up in an unconventional way, leading him to comment that it's the best start to a day. They discuss a beach trip, hinting that their earlier activities might continue. Meanwhile, Tanya researches Karissa and confronts her in a heated argument that escalates into a dramatic exchange of insults, before Karissa shutting the door on Tanya's face. While getting dressed in Karissa's room, Mark unexpectedly finds a gun, and when Karissa suggests he move in with her, he declines, which leads to a frosty reaction from Karissa. Later, he calls to apologize, and Karissa accepts but imposes a condition: he must not let his mother influence him. She demands he choose between her and his mother. Concerned, Tanya sets him up with Melanie, someone closer to his age. The date goes well, ending with a kiss that leaves Mark smitten and Tanya delighted. However, Karissa, angry about this, waits in Melanie's car with a knife, confronts her, and slashes her face as a warning to stay away from Mark. Meanwhile, Randy's work at an aquarium makes the presence of sharks relevant to the story. Tanya, trying to reconcile with Randy, brings muffins to him, only to find he's ending things, citing either his frustration or his desire to avoid being a crutch. Karissa, too, visits the aquarium, fascinated by the sharks and trying to seduce Randy, who ultimately kicks her out in frustration. Mark, intending to break up with Karissa, confides in Walter. Walter seizes the chance to charm Karissa, calling her vintage, but his efforts fail, irritating Karissa, who then grabs a butcher knife. Mark attempts to reconnect with Melanie through a video chat, but she hides her scars and tells him she can't see him anymore, leaving him heartbroken. Returning to Karissa, Mark arrives dressed for a pitch meeting for his app. Though he receives a job offer from a programmer, he declines, preferring to develop the app independently. Karissa becomes violent when he expresses his wish for independence, striking him on the head. He wakes up tied in a sauna, wearing only his boxers, and pleads with Karissa to let him go. Karissa, sitting on his lap, gives a chilling monologue about the worth of women, burns him with a hot poker, and tells him to relax. Concerned about Mark's disappearance, Tanya asks Randy for help, but he's no help. Karissa, using Mark's phone, texts Tanya as if from Mark, leading Tanya to Karissa's house, where she reluctantly accepts a cocktail. Tanya accuses Karissa of being unstable. In response, Karissa handcuffs Tanya, stating she must wear them if she wants to see Mark. Karissa then leaves Tanya with a dreadful choice, Mark or herself, leaving a gun with one bullet and locking them in the sauna. Desperate, Tanya devises a risky plan. She initially points the gun at herself, but then pretends to shoot herself, creating a loud bang with hot stones and lying on the floor next to the gun. Startled, Karissa returns, believing Tanya is dead. As Karissa approaches, Tanya launches a fierce attack, leading to an intense struggle between the two. Tanya manages to gain upper hand by shoving Karissa's face onto hot stones. Tanya manages to free Mark from the sauna as Karissa follows close behind, still a threat. Randy intervenes by throwing a trident, neutralizing Karissa. Astonishingly, Walter emerges alive from a box. With Karissa no longer a threat, the group plans a college road trip together. Tanya, now less overbearing from her experiences, gives Mark more freedom. She reconciles with Randy, whose surprising trident skills helped save the day. As the film ends, Walter's new senior girlfriend arrives on wheels, joining their adventure. Thanks for watching.